the pottery in your house, in your kitchen, is different from your great-grandmother's pottery. I say pottery, I mean dishes.
Yeah.
The ceramics. And an expert could tell us, exactly when it was made and where it was made and all of that stuff. Now, I wouldn't know anything about modern dishes, but, ancient pottery, that's a little more interesting to me because you're talking here about Israelites at Shiloh were using this pottery. Amorites at Shiloh were using this pottery. Do we see a transition from the late Bronze Age pottery, Middle Bronze Age first, into the late Bronze Age and then into the Iron Age? Yes. In some cases, it's very gradual. It's not like they had a potter's convention in 1400 and all said, okay, no more making rims this way, now we've got to make them this way. These are sociological changes that happen over, longer periods of time. So that said, ceramic typology is pretty accurate. There's a series of indicators that we're interested in. So for example, we want to use all of the senses. What does it feel like? And you can feel that, John. What's the feel of that as opposed to, say, the feel of that? So we want to feel it. Sometimes I use my tongue because my tongue has a better sense of feel than my fingers do. Not everybody's willing to do that, but that's what I do. We're interested in the sound. How does it sound? Because it's fired differently in different time periods. The inclusions, so I've kind of cleaned that off so that you can see what the grit is in there and what the inclusions are. Sometimes it's limestone or bitumen, ground up pottery, different things. Very large inclusions here, very small limestone inclusions here. So they both have limestone inclusions, small and large. That's an indicator. In the Bronze Age, the rims evert, they go out. In the Iron Age, they're straight up. So we determine the stance of the object. We want to stance it so that where there's no light coming through. So that's clearly everting, which means it's very likely Bronze Age, not Iron Age. That, along with the size of the grid and the style of carination here, I can be confident in saying that that's a Bronze Age piece. The Iron Age material looks different, maybe not at first glance, but see the reddish ware with the small white grit. We always examine here. Sometimes there's a potter's mark that appears right here. There is some kind of marking there, so we might wash that again to take a better look at it. The type of inclusions also help us, and then of course we label each piece with our accession code so we can track exactly where it came from. Now, do you see how similar those two pieces are? Mm-hmm. They're both reddish, they both have the small white limestone inclusion. This also, notice how you've got the same reddish ware, the same small limestone inclusions, and can you tell, John, a little bit of sparkle when I move that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's indicative of the Iron II period, little crystalline or something that they're throwing in there. You get a little bit of it in the Middle Bronze Age too, but that just gives me another reason to believe that this is Iron II. That groove right there, spot on, ringer. Okay, so that lets me know that it's Iron II. The stance is straight up. The groove there, the reddish ware, the small limestone inclusions, and the sparkle. So that's a slam dunk. Okay, so no doubt about it, that's Iron II. So all of those are adding up. Then notice the commonality, say, in these three pieces, what they have in common. They're all whole mouth jars. So this means that it stances like this, and the mouth is like this. So the mouth is more narrow than the rest of the vessel. So it closes in, what we call a whole mouth. So is that, so is that. So just did three different types of whole mouth vessels. See the smaller limestone inclusions, the whole mouth, which is a very popular form in Iron II period, and a bit of burnish. Do you see where it's shining a little bit right here and right there? See what looks like a stripe there and a stripe there and a stripe there?
Okay.
All right, that's a type of burnish. So this was spinning on a potter's wheel, and with a tool, maybe a bone or a soft stone or an old soft piece of pottery, as it's spinning, it's being burnished or polished. And that's also typical of that time period. So knowing that these are popular forms at that time period, knowing about burnishing, and the type of grit, the type of wear, and even the hardness. So we check sometimes the hardness. I would also say all of those are iron 2. Now, we could go further and say, is it iron 2A, is it iron 2B, or is it iron 2C? And there are indicators of that too, if we want to break it down further.